We'll now call to order the Town of Lake Lure Town Council regular meeting Tuesday, July 13th, 2021. If you would please stand for the invocation.
Let me pray. Father, we thank you for another opportunity to come together to take care of the town's business. Ask your blessing on our time together. Grant us eyes that see, ears that hear, and hearts that understand, and courage to do what's right. We ask for your blessings on our town, and especially for the police officers, first responders that we have here, that you'd watch over them and protect them and keep them safe as they work to keep us safe. Pray in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having had an opportunity to review the agenda, are there any edits or additions to the agenda? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as written.
Madam Mayor, I second the motion.
John Kilby made the motion and Commissioner David DeOrio seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Then the agenda stands approved as written. I would thank you all for coming. That's the first thing. It's so wonderful to have so many people here. This is our second time after no Zoom anymore, and it's really nice to see people from the community here. It's such a great holiday that we all had, July the 4th. I had 21 people, if you went by my house, enjoying the lake, so appreciate that very much. And certainly there was a lot of celebration that took place. And Patrick, I know you want to say a few words.
Yeah, so thank you all very much. I know that as citizens of our community, we all know to stay off the roads, A. But B, we want to give a special thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for soliciting and putting together this incredible event for our town for July the 4th. I know they had a great event on the 3rd, but to Chief Humphreys, Chief Waycaster, and Assistant Chief Melton, we wanted to give a special thank you to you and all of our first responders for all the hard work that you did to make sure that our community could stay safe on the night of. And y'all cleared traffic in a heartbeat that night. It was incredible. So, yeah. So, I left the hotel at 11 and got home without any trouble. So I have seen it go till 1 a.m. So I wanted to give a special thank you to all of you for everything you've done. So.
Thank you. We do appreciate, you know we appreciate you, but specifically on July the 4th, we appreciated you even more. We will now move on to Town Manager's Communications.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are a number of folks we want to recognize, but before we do, I just want to brush through some of the highlights for the various departments. For communications, our new website is up and running, and although it's a work in progress, it is excellent. So I want you guys to take a look at that. Laura Creegee, our communications specialist, has done an excellent job with that. We're going to be revisiting our communications plan. It's important that we use the same terms and messaging outwardly as we apply for grants and things. And for instance, we are embarking on a replacement dam project, not a new dam, but it's important that we use the same terms when we communicate outwardly. So those types of things we'll try to address. Dam and Hydro, Dean Lindsay is with us tonight. His team is embarking on an effort to take over operations of the wastewater treatment plant. Every time I go down there, there's an improvement that's being made. So Dean, we appreciate your work. And that's going to end up saving us north of $100,000 a year. So it's good work. Public Works, they have basically cleared the rights of way for all town streets this year at least once, and they are ditching all of our town streets to deal with the stormwater. So that's important. They've made some water system repairs. Community development. Today, Mike Williams was promoted into the Community Development Director position. So Mike, congratulations. Heard a lot of great things about your work, and we look forward to your leadership in that department. And I'll talk about Rick in just a minute, if I may. Those guys are slammed. They're busy. Construction is underway. We are now looking at right at 400 residential vacation rental permits. It's a very busy time for us. They also are busy implementing NCGS 160D. That was a General Assembly mandate rewrite of our regulations, so they're updating forms and applications to be consistent with those regulations that have been passed. Just to give you a little bit of background about Mike, he is a certified zoning official in North Carolina. He's also a certified floodplain manager. We have a floodplain here, so those things are important. He's had 8 years' experience in code enforcement, working with a major jurisdiction to our west, and he's been executive director for the Red Cross and other agencies, so the leadership is there. So we look forward to seeing what Mike is going to be able to do for us. Parks and Rec, Dean Givens has 3 major projects that are lake dredging related. The lake access easement, you've been working on that for a while, Dean. The deep water launch at the dam is very important to us, and then also we're looking at developing a new spoils retention site. So those are 3 major projects that will allow us to continue dredging well in the future. Parks and Rec, Trails Coordinator Dana Bradley is staying on top of trails management. Tons of volunteer hours she's already brought to the table to help us keep trails in good shape. Fire Department, they've increased calls almost 2 a day. So right now they're looking at 58, 59 calls for the previous month. When the season is, when we're not in season, we look at maybe a call a day. But when season's here, we're slammed. That's 2 calls a day. The guys have put a ton of hours into training. So Chief, we appreciate what you guys are doing, keeping us safe. Police Department, they have been focusing a lot on lake regulation enforcement. They're out there on the lake. We're having boat congestion, as always, during the summer season. And they put in approximately 60 total patrol hours on the lake last month. 2 officers have completed their open water scuba diving certification. Finance, we came in, everything came in budget for fiscal year 2021, and we're beginning to set the stage for some infrastructure improvements by building our fund balances. So things are looking good as far as being able to have funds to do the things we need to do in the future. So we're moving things forward, and we're currently in the new budget year. And just to echo what Commissioner Bryant said, sounds like the 4th I heard from 3 different departments that we were able to move traffic very quickly. So we appreciate what you guys have done. So that having been said, just want to introduce to you newly hired Rick Carpenter. He's our new DERS. That's the Developmental Environment Review Specialist. He has an undergraduate degree in wildlife biology. He has a graduate degree in geography and planning from ASU, and a number of years' experience in planning and code enforcement. So, Rick, if you could just stand or raise your hand so folks can see you. He is basically the new person in community development working with Mike. So he's our new Mitchell, but he's Rick. All right. All right. And then also we want to recognize outgoing human resource specialist Amy Wright. Amy has been with us 2.5 years. Amy is here. She's in the back, off to the side. Ask Amy today, I said, Amy, what have been the 3 top things that you felt like you'd have contributed to the town while you were here? And she said she felt like she streamlined the onboarding process, that the interface, the payroll, bank accounts, that she straightened a lot of that up, and then also she felt like she improved employee relations. So Amy is outgoing, so we will miss Amy, and we're going to wish her well. Newly appointed town clerk Olivia Steuben is with us. She's over to my left. That'd be your right. Olivia, she has a graduate degree and a undergraduate degree from ASU. The graduate degree is the TACM program. It's the town and county management degree from ASU. I think Sam went through that program as well. The mascot at ASU is the Mountaineers, and they call that group the Mountaineer Mafia. So they've got managers all over the state. They do a great job. It's one of the best programs that we got in the state. So Olivia is a graduate of that program. So Olivia, we look forward to to working with you. I called one of the references that I knew from a former town where I worked, a resort town. I won't name the town. And I said, I got a resume here from a person that worked for you. He said, yeah, he said, I know who that is, and yeah, I would hire her today if I had an opening. So she comes highly recommended. She's eager. Michelle is amazed at how quick she is picking things up here. So she's going to be a great addition to the town. She aspires to be a town manager. That's a good thing, right? I think it is. Okay. So she's ambitious, and she's in a great place to learn a lot about other departments and how a town operates. It's a pivotal role in North Carolina, the clerk position is. So welcome, Olivia. And last, just a word or two about clerks in North Carolina. Clerks in North Carolina, town clerks, occupy different positions with different towns. A board can delegate all kinds of authority to a clerk. Some towns where you don't have a town manager or you don't have a town administrator, clerks serve as the chief appointed official. It just depends on how much authority a town council would delegate to a town clerks. They have different roles and responsibilities in different towns, and they are highly regarded in North Carolina. They're mentioned in the North Carolina General Statutes. Clerks, again, occupy a pivotal role in a local jurisdiction. And so Michelle Jolly is going to be leaving us and moving on to other things. We're certainly going to miss Michelle. That having been said, we have something we'd like to present to her. If I could ask Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Kilby to help me up front, and then Michelle, if you could join us up front, we'd appreciate that. In rain.
This is a resolution honoring the dedicated service of Michelle Jolly. Whereas Michelle Jolly began working for the town of Lake Lure on July 4th, 2005, and was promoted to the position of town clerk on June 18th, 2018. And whereas Michelle Jolly has served the town in a dedicated and conscientious manner over the past 16 years, and has decided to leave her position as town clerk to further her education and to pursue her career opportunities. And whereas through her work, Michelle Jolly has advanced the office of town clerk and displayed the highest degree of professionalism and integrity. And whereas Michelle Jolly has served the town of Lake Lure faithfully, now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the Lake Lure Town Council and the citizens of the town of Lake Lure, the Lake Lure Town Council expresses deep and sincere appreciation for her dedicated service to the town and wishes her well in the future endeavors. Approved this 13th day of July 2021, and that's in the form of a motion. So somebody want to second it, and we'll get this on the road.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, everyone. Have a seat. I'm just going to have a few words to say. I asked a few of the staff members today if they'd write down some words that they would use to describe Michelle Jolly and her job. And so here's what I got. Conscientious, welcoming, committed, kind, a Christian lady, caring, pleasant, helpful. I can say that I've never, ever, one time, seen this girl be negative, and that's amazing today. I think I can get an amen from the front row up there. very much appreciated, Michelle. And as Shannon said, she's leaving to continue her education. She's really leaving so she can spend more time with that youngin' right there. If she's not the spit image, there's never been a spit image, I can tell you that much. So, and I hate to tell you, Daddy, but she looks like her mom. So, all that being said, you know, it's just, it's been a joy having Michelle here for the number of years she's been here. We wish her well and, in her new endeavors. Thank you.
So one of the things that we try to do, Michelle, for clerks is do something nice. So we'd like to present this to you and your family so that you can keep and maybe remember us for all the good things that you've done. So we appreciate you.
Thank you, I really appreciate you guys a lot.
So if you want to give a speech, you can.
I've had many, many great memories here, met many great people, and I miss you all dearly.
Yeah. Take about a 5 or 10 minute break. We've got good goodies for Michelle.
Okay, we are going to have a 5 or 10 minute recess here so we can celebrate with Michelle and her family, how thankful we are for the time that she's dedicated to the town of Lake Lure. So we have some refreshments back there. Please enjoy.
Only down there about 30 years.
All right, so we've already,
Emailed me at 6:30 on Saturday morning. Of course, I didn't see it till about 2 o'clock.
But it was there.
Yeah.
I have a 2-year-old, I don't sleep.
All right, and you send messages when you can,
Some of your best work is done at this
That's
time,
right.
I was
right?
just working on the minutes, and I was like, Lord, that's dedication. And then I remembered she has to talk. Still
So
dedication.
anyway, Kai did not like the fireworks.
so she was very subdued, St. William. Seems like there's something wrong with her. So by the Friday before, she started throwing up and getting more subdued. We thought she was swimming in the lake, maybe she passed her or something, but I kept thinking she was so subdued when she first got here. So by Saturday, she was starting to breathe like,
I can tell by the show.
so I thought, oh God. So I finally found a Syrian clinic that was open on July 4th in Hendersonville. And so we called them and they said yes, but they couldn't take her. It would be like an 8-hour wait. So they finally got her in Monday morning. William took her up there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was back at 10.
fine.
Thank you all so much. That was so sweet. That really threw me off.
Well,
That was,
it's good we got you out here.
We would certainly like to thank Laura Creegee for those delicious refreshments. Always a reason to have a party if Laura's around, so you can eat the food for sure. We will now resume our meeting, and we're on to the council liaison reports and comments. We'll start with Commissioner Kilby.
Lake Advisory Board met yesterday, a week late due to the 4th of July observance on July the 5th. A lot was discussed, and it was a very, I think, fruitful meeting yesterday. Just some information, we currently have 90 buoys on Lake Lure. That's 90, 90 buoys on Lake Lure. Unfortunately, we generally have to repair or replace about 20 every year. Accurate date, close. That's to the tune of about $3,000 for 20 of them. So people run over them, or they come loose, or they go in somebody's bar, or something happens to them. Sink sometimes. They make a wonderful sound if you hit one at night and don't realize it. It just goes down your bottom of your boat as you're going across. So we had 4 requests for new buoys yesterday. There are guidelines that are in place as to what qualifies a property for a buoy. It's listed on one of the handouts that they have up front if a person wants to request a new buoy. The 4 that were requested yesterday, none of them met the criteria, and so the Lake Advisory Board turned those down. And we're going to the Lake Advisory Board's going to get a little bit more stringent about that, as we realize now we have 90 buoys on Lake Lure. So that was part of the discussion yesterday. A good bit of discussion was yesterday about lake rules, lake etiquette, horsepower, congestion, and safety. It's hard to govern speed. It's hard to determine speed. I asked the dummy question yesterday from Dean about, is there no way for radar or anything like that? Well, radar doesn't work for speed on water. It has to be on land-based. So there's really no way to have a way to have someone sitting somewhere and determine how fast a boat is going. So that's a challenge for our police officers that are out on the lake. So that led to a discussion of a limit on horsepower for boats and what boats would fall into that limit. I will tell you, if you're a boat owner, if you have a ski boat, a ski nautique, or a Mastercraft, or any of those boats that have an inboard motor, max speed on those boats is about 40 miles an hour, 40, 41 miles an hour. So pontoon boats is a different story. I think we actually have 1 pontoon boat on the lake with a 350. That boat probably will run 60. Huh? Good guess would be 60 miles an hour. So the bottom line is LAB is really considering we got to do some serious thoughts about horsepower limitations and education for people. Discussion is being made with Dean, all this working through Dean and Dana, thank you. It's tough getting old. About education programs, possibly even a class required, possibly even a class required every year to get a certification, a license before you can be a licensed driver on the lake of a boat. So some of these things are not gonna be popular, but the last thing we need is a tragedy. So, I'll commend the LAB for their discussion and getting the ball rolling on that yesterday at the meeting. There was no action taken on the horsepower. Initially, there was a motion made, that motion was withdrawn. It was determined that more study needed to be done. Lake Bowen, if you know Lake Bowen, going down headed to Spartanburg, they're a larger lake than we are. They have a horsepower limit there. Dean, you remember it's 150? 115 for pontoon boats and fishing boats, okay? Ken Collier, our resident research, raise your hand, Ken, is gonna be doing some research work on this for the LAB for next month's meeting. And he'll be presenting the information that he's able to find on that, doing research. He is a research person, and that's his thing, so he's gonna be putting together things for the LAB to present next month. And that's all I have, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Diorio?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the Utility Advisory Board had kind of a special meeting this month on July the 6th. They were hosted by Dean Lindsay, who is our hydroelectric director at the dam. And a great opportunity to discuss our findings as we went through the dam. And this is good for everyone to know what's going on at the hydroelectric plant. So last year, if you think about it, last year was a little bit different than this. Last year was a year where we invested heavily in the safety of the hydroelectric dam by reinforcing the piping that goes into the generators, replacing the motor on top of the penstock, which is a valve that isolates it, cleaning up the shop. So last year was a year of getting the machines able and postured to be working for at least the next decade, or at least as long as we have this particular dam, and that was really successful. As a matter of fact, we have recouped or paid off all that investment from the operations that we were, successful operations we had this year. So we've paid off that investment to make the hydroelectric plant safe. This year would be considered getting the operation down there the most efficient that we can. And a plug for Dean Lindsay, his team has done just that. Codifying procedures, taking a look at lake level and anticipating how the lake would respond to a natural event. He's got more tools than ever to assess that. And you'll notice on the lake that because of their efforts at the dam, the lake has been more consistent in level than we've seen in many, many years. And that's not by accident. That's by Dean Lindsay and his team anticipating and maximizing the use of the generators to keep lake level within a 10-inch band that makes life for all of us a lot easier. And so, like I said, that was no accident, and he's codified those particular procedures. The next step is to invest in automation down at the dam so that his team can even fine-tune this even more with automation of the gates in anticipation for rain events, automating the generators coming up and down to maximizing the efficiency when we make the most money at certain times of the day. And that's going to be even more important come this spring when we go into negotiations with Duke Energy for a new contract, and they're much more complicated than the one that we have right now. And the reason for that is Duke Energy is trying to balance wind energy, other hydroelectric energy, solar energy, and so Duke is going to require us to, or not require, but they incentivize us to operate at certain periods of the day where they could really use the hydroelectric power with everything else going on. When there's no wind or no sun, high demand times. So that means that the automation is going to be really important. And with that automation, Dean and his team can fine tune the generators to operate during those peak periods to make us even more generate more revenue as a town. So that's what he's got coming up. He briefed us on that process. UAB was very impressed with where we're going with the automation, and the cleanliness and the operation and the way that the machines are running right now has been the best than we've seen in many, many years. So thank you, Dean, for that. Thank you for the tour. and we're off and running and postured well for success this next fiscal year. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Moore.
I was out of town the day the zoning and planning board met, and David covered that meeting for me. Was there anything?
There's nothing really to report from that zoning meeting.
Okay, and there's no zoning meeting this month. There's just, fortunately, there hasn't been much business come up before zoning and planning for the last several months.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bryan?
Yes, all right, a couple of things. Let's see, first up, Board of Adjustment, regular meeting. There was a special use permit for home occupation to operate an online wholesale auto business, moving it from R3 to a commercial, and that was approved, as it will not actually be stationing any vehicles or physical property on site. It's all online at Sheep Nose Drive, 129. And CDD has our new hire, so we're very excited for that, Mike, and look to some really good things on the front end of that. So, and then some open discussion about possible commercial projects. I was not in attendance at the meeting, but I did get a quick recap. Some pieces about the cell tower proposal, the parcel on Memorial Highway. So there's some things that are in the works with the Board of Adjustment for those. So for the Lake Structure Appeals Board, there was a request from Matthew Taub to approve a deck top accessory structure that was approved. So, and there's also some discussion of intention to renew the enforcement of the lake structure certificate and tag maintenance of structures. So that hasn't been enforced in about 20 years or so, but that is a discussion that's happening right now to ensure that the structures that are on our lakefront are up to par, up to speed, and up to structure code. So which is going to be very good for us in the long run. So for Parks and Recreation, I was there for the large piece of the meeting there, and we had some special specific topics to discuss, including the Morse Park Recreation Plan for parking areas for the amphitheater that has been in the works for a while. The Rutherford TDA has been doing some advertising about that as well right now, and there are a lot of thoughts that Dana has received from that board for the amphitheater and thoughts on that. So the committee's going to be continuing their consideration for the ideas for enhancing our public park space areas into the coming future. So again, just a quick thank you for fireworks, and then we're this is sort of a joint project between CDD, UAB, Parks and Recreation for a possible location for a cell phone tower that has been spearheaded by AT&T, but partnership possibility for other cell providers to come on board for that project as that comes forward. As part of our consent agenda, there is a joint resolution that we'll adopt tonight regarding that. So there was a quick thing about blue-green algae in the lake. We don't have that issue here. Ms. Bradley has been incredible about water testing results and taking care of monthly reports, and continues to be just an incredible asset for the town here. So golf course discussion is still ongoing. Mark Hook is the liaison from the board there, and his previous discussions and further recommendations will come to council as opportunities present themselves for that. So some of our park trail counters are doing really well. When it's this hot, some of the hard trails people don't like to access quite as much. And the Flowering Bridge has done incredibly well with 24,000 people passing through. Some of that's volunteer numbers. So Jim is still liaisoning as our Morse Park area, and Dan Bragdon had to leave before he could give some of our program and initiatives for that. So we're excited for the new website, Laura, so thank you very much for all your hard work there. I'm very excited for that. And next meeting is August the 5th, so we're there.
Thank you very much. All right, well, we appreciate all the hard work that the boards do. What an incredible amount of hours that people volunteer, and so much expertise in our community that we take advantage of. So thank you all for everyone who's on the boards. We'll now move to our public comment. If there's anyone who would like to make a comment, you are welcome to step up to the podium, please. State your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to tell us your most important thoughts.
Hi, my name is Deborah Gardner, and I live in Firefly Cove. I had a concern when my husband and I were on the lake a couple weeks ago, and we passed by, there's an area going towards Rumbling Bald on the left side where people tend to beach. And somebody had, there were 3 boats there, and someone built a structure for a bonfire, which was very concerning because it's right next to woods in the background. And we were concerned, and as we were going by, one of the police boats was going by, and I actually flagged the police boat and called them over and expressed the concern for the bonfire. And the police officer had said that he had told them to take it down. And I said, well, do you know whether has been taken down? And he said, well, we don't know who owns that property, so we can't really enforce it. And I suggested in that case that they forewarn the fire department just in case they actually light it and it causes a fire. And we were back, this was a couple weeks ago, we were back on the lake this week, and the bonfire structure is still up. Luckily, they haven't lit it, but what I don't understand is why it can't be taken down, or whoever owns that could be told to take it down, because if it is set ablaze, it could potentially catch the woods behind it and cause another fire.
Okay.
Thank you.
for bringing that to our attention. We'll look into that. Is there anyone else who would?
My name's Pat Beatty. I live in town. There's a group of us, Mayor, that I would like, that have owned property. We're just taxpayers. We don't have a business. And we would like to have a discussion with you, kind of like what we did with Duke Energy. So if we can work together to do that, that'd be great. We would just like to be heard about things.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. Is there anyone else who would like to step up and share their thoughts? Well, we thank you all for coming, certainly, and we're always eager to hear what you have to say, so we're happy when you take advantage of that. We will now move on to our next section, which is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then the consent agenda is accepted as written. Michelle probably got that. Okay, great. We have no unfinished business nor new business, so there being no other business, new or unfinished, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Bryant, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we stand adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Maybe a record. That's why.